So today is February 19th. It's a Thursday, and you have basically a week before HubSpot is going to make you publish your knowledge base before your old knowledge base goes away. So the good news is HubSpot's done some heavy lifting. The bad news is you have to revisit it, you have to publish it, and there's some action required. And we just got all of these notifications coming through the system all at once as a partner, which can lead to a little bit of stress if you're trying to fit a full week in and also now have some extra work. So I figured I would go through, give you some high level breakdown on what you got to do and how you need to review things, and then you can hit the ground running. So first off, the actual message comes across like this. Your knowledge base has been updated to use the newest tools. To keep your articles live, a super admin or a user with knowledge base edit access must perform them in the app banner publish button by February 2026. If you do not publish by February 2026, your knowledge base articles will be unavailable for your website, and in theory, you will not have any knowledge base articles publicly available for your support team or your customers. So let's jump into the knowledge base. It's worthwhile to note that you have two different knowledge base areas. You have the legacy knowledge base areas here. And if I go back, this is an example of what you'll probably be inheriting based on the work that they've done. There's a button here for legacy knowledge base. I'm going to show you the difference between these two, but you'll notice that you're in your knowledge bases. You have to be a service hub seat in order to be able to edit and update this, as well as a super admin. But your legacy knowledge base, if you click into that, you'd be able to see what the look and feel is. So if we view this live, you'll see it's on support/test Rocket PRM. And you'll notice that there's some old school ways that things would have to be managed. So you have your overall categories, you'll have this big block, etc. When we go into the new version of your knowledge base, you will be able to go in and look at that. And you've got this action required to keep knowledge base live. You'll have this published version. You'll be able to click through all the different knowledge bases. You'll have to do this for each of them, but you might notice that the URL says migration and support. That's because the new version hasn't been set up. So there's some core steps you have to do that you want to make sure you take a look at. So I'm going to view this live so you can see what we're dealing with. There's quite a bit more opportunity here. In this case, there's now a menu here, and you can see that these are actually a menu item. That's the default menu in our portal. And then if we go back to the high level, there's some visual differences. Now, when we're looking at that, we need to go in and essentially edit the theme. So the knowledge base themes don't work like your normal website themes. So you're not gonna be able to get it to match exactly, but it does have more features than it had before. Unfortunately, it's just different. So you're gonna go into the configure in the top right, and you're gonna click theme. And this is gonna give you your options for you to be able to go through and set your theme. Your colors, you will have to go through and choose these. And pro tip, if you don't have brand colors, go through and edit those first so it's easy for you to find the right colors. So you can go through and you can set your colors the way you want them, and you can, from there, now you've got your overall background and function. You've got your typography. You'll be able to choose your, we definitely don't want Georgia. We'll do Libra Baskerville, and we will do Montserrat as our brand fonts. Actually, I have to do that the other way. Montserrat and Libra Baskerville. We'll make this bold. There we go. Now we're starting to look like we're more on brand. And then you're going to go, you have the option of going down and editing each of those areas. You'll want to make sure that your body text is set up the way that you want. In this case, it's a weird blue. We definitely don't need that. So we'll make it black. And then your links, you just got to make sure it's easy to read. Again, don't need the blue. We'll make this orange, and then we'll make the hover our pink color. So at any time you can click to see what it would look like overall. And if we come back to the area here, you'll need to update your header. You'll have the option of whether you want it to be full width. You have the option for the menu. This is just for spacing and colors. Then you can come through your background and you can choose to set your overall page background for the header. And then you get to choose what you want your search bar to be. And this is where you would be able to switch out your background image, You'd be able to set out your spacing, so we can tighten this up. We can make it 80 on the top and bottom. And whether you want some padding on the side. You can choose for the image alignment, you can adjust it so that it matches. You might need to pull that from your main website. And then you get to choose the colors for the inputs. So the text color, will just make this black. And our icon color, will make that white so it pops a little bit better. So you'll need to go through all these settings to make sure that they work. So from here, this is looking pretty good. Now we're gonna hit Publish Theme. Now this just publishes the theme. It doesn't publish your whole knowledge base. Now we need to go back to Configure, and we're gonna configure the header. So now that we configure the header, it'll take a second to load, and now we can go through and we can, obviously this menu is not what we want. So you'll click it through the menu. You have to select a menu. I'll search Rocket PRM. We've got Rocket PRM 2026 here. And then you have the ability for your button. In this case, go to Rocket PRM. It's going to take you to URL. Pro tip, you need to make sure it's a fully qualified URL, or you can choose a particular page. And if you don't want the button, you absolutely don't have to. So then you apply changes. You should see the updates happen live, and we can go back over to this website header, and we can look at the options that we've got in here as well. So you have additional support options. You can turn on the customer portal if you're taking tickets in HubSpot's customer portal. You can add the option for a support form. You can have the login, log out options, and then you have your option for your login switcher, which you can choose to display or not. The display options allow localize the page language based on the language the page is on, or a hybrid of both. So you can do that. And then from here, we've got our menu. Now we can publish this. It might say publish to 150 assets if you got 150 articles. And then you got one last step. We're gonna come down to footer. And in the footer, we got to do pretty much the same thing. So in the footer, we definitely don't need the menu, so we can just disable the menu. And then we can come down to the logo, and we can, in this case, we're going to choose the Rocket PRM logo. Perfect. And of course, that's pretty huge, so let's make that 200 pixels wide. Make it link to Rocket PRM. And we'll click update. And then we have this section down here, which is just a text area. We don't need to worry about that content right now. And we have our copyright, which we're totally fine with. So you can publish this. Now, once it's visually looking the way that you want it to, now you can come over and you can view what it looks like on the front end. And you'll see we're still full width. We've got our getting started card here. You can click into it and you can see the actual article. So visually, at least, it's not looking too wonky in comparison to the old one. So once you're good to go there, then one last thing, you want to confirm your categories. The categories work a little bit different in here, so you can see the categories won't necessarily show. If you click into them, you'll be able to edit the category. You can drop in a description in here and then figure out how you want it to display. So this is where icons are going to come in handy. So you could pull in your icons and it's going to show the visual alongside them. So you can also choose the order and whether or not they show up, but just remember your published articles are going to be the only way that they show live. So once you have all of that figured out, you should be able to view the migration version of the knowledge base, and then you'll be able to compare it. If you open this legacy knowledge base in a new window, you'll be able to compare what it looks like elsewhere. So if we view this one live, and then we come back and look at the updated one, and we view this one live, we can see these side by side. You know, this is the old, and now this is the new. And of course, you can make any adjustments. Some key things that you'll want to pay attention to is you'll need to make sure that your formatting and your links and some of your articles look good. Outside of that, you should be able to publish. So what you'll do there is you'll just come over to this button. You have to press this button right here to publish your knowledge base. You'll go through, it's going to tell you where it's going to replace. The old one will not be accessible, and you just hit publish. And at that point, it'll take a minute, but you'll see this URL update here. If we refresh the screen, now it shows Rocket PRM support, and just know that this is how the knowledge base articles and everything would show up now on the front end. So should automatically, this was the old version, and if I refresh, this is going to show the new version in a minute. Sometimes HubSpot can cache the look and the feel. We'll let that reload just for a second here. There we go. And the new version will come through. So the big thing is you have to realize that you never had these options before to set the theme settings and everything. It's not just a publish button. You also got to make sure that the theme looks right so it's not disruptive to your users. If you run into any issues or you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Impulse Creative. You can go to impulsecreative.com/contact and just mention you need some help with your knowledge base, and we'll see how we can help. There may be a lot of people reaching out for that support. It shouldn't be too hard, but we're happy to jump on a half-hour call with you and make it happen, and we can send you a quote depending on how big your knowledge base and how much work is needed.